Welcome back. This is Mike Goldenberg with some Abzan Company kitchen finks. This is my 1-year-old list. This is the list I won the 10K with a long time ago, so let's see how it treats me here. I'll keep this. So I could use the Verdant Catacomb to thin my deck, but then what do I grab? Do I grab an Overgrown Tomb to be able to play one of the 2 black cards in my deck? Or do I grab Basic Forest, preserve my life total? Or do I grab a Temple Garden to make this Horizon Canopy expendable? All those questions. So up against Bogles here. Love seeing that matchup. Still need a win condition. For my draw step, I will use that fetch, so then I will thin my deck 1 by pulling a land out, and I will be able to play a Kitchen Finks and an Ewit, which can rebuy the Horizon Canopy, so I'm going to have 3 draws at infinite. Three draws for anyone who wasn't fully following that. What I get to do is I get to go infinite, right? Sack the Horizon Canopy, rebuy it with Eternal Witness, then play it as my land for turn. So I get my turn, my Horizon Canopy, my second Horizon Canopy. I get 3 draws there. Okay. Lots of clicking. Okay. I'm just going to put up a really big wall here and see what my opponent does. I mean, this should be game anyway. They don't have trample, and I have infinite blockers. Do I play the Ewit here? I think I do. Because worst case scenario, which is my opponent kills my Druid, I'm still so far ahead that I just need to get a Viscera Seer and I win with infinite life. Bogles can't be infinite life. Okay. So up against Bogles, what do we want? Shalai doesn't matter that much. Knight of Autumn's a really, really good removal spell, and all these are removal spells. Also can bring in Path to hit their Spirit Dancer, which could be important, so it's a consideration, but these are definites. Cards I'm less interested in, Voice, Safi, Renegade Rallier, those are cards I'm slightly less interested in. Scavenging Use is actively bad, can cut that. My opponent doesn't have a ton of removal, so I don't need the double second Viscera Seer here. And with 4 cuts to go, that would be 4 cuts right there. But I think I'm actually just going to keep 1 Rallier. I feel like Rallier is pretty useful it's the best tempo play. If someone paths your turn 2 Druid and you sack it in response, you can buy it back pretty quick. So I generally have rules against mulliganing these types of decks. So first of all, I know my matchup now. My matchup is a aggro deck. Effectively, it's going to race me, and their interaction is going to be Gaddock Teague and Path Exile. So my general rule of thumb is mulligan any hand that doesn't have a Druid or a Mana Dork in it, or the Kitchen Finks combo, for example. Like that, I would keep a turn 1 Viscera or turn 2 Vizier, turn 3 Finks hand. But this hand just doesn't do anything, so it's an easy mulligan. This hand's fine. So this hand has turn 1 Acceleration. The Vizier is just a piece that I happen to have. And then I do have a turn 3 Collected Company, so I'll keep this. What do I mulligan here? Gaffney Township doesn't do much, so I can bottom that and just put myself in a spot where I just need to draw 1 land, but to be able to cast a turn 3 Coco. Thought about just getting a basic forest there, and there's definitely an argument to be made to do that. But I think I'm fine doing this. I think I'm fine. What I should have done is I should have played the Windswept Heath and got the Temple Garden off that. That way, if I want, I can always grab a basic Swamp off the Verdant Catacombs. I do want to have lots of green mana to help hardcast a Court of Calling if necessary. Opponent missed their attack. Had to have, right? I don't care about the redundancy of the Spider Umbra, I more care about the size of the Ethereal Armor. That's why I tagged that one instead. You use Knight of Autumn to block and get a free scry. I've been a bit aggressive with my life total here, but that's mostly because I just don't respect this. I don't respect what my opponent's doing right here in terms of just getting a fast aggro kill on me. I have confidence that I'll be able to find a Kitchen Finks or something before my opponent can kill me here. Just like I said before, I block here and I get a free scry. Not what I want to see. Let's bottom that. Land would be great. Kitchen Finks would be great. I guess it's a land. I'm not going to block with the Vizier, so I might as well attack. The Ballista is my jump block here. See my opponent to not draw a way to give Clade Cover Scout flying or trample. Otherwise, we would be going to game 3. Okay. Can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. Alright, exactly what I just said. Okay, cool. We had it next turn. Okay, yeah, I think we're fine here. Alright, we have to mulligan again. Let's keep this, though. This hand's a bit weak, but has some redundancy. I'll be bottoming the Noble Hierarch. As we just saw, flying is a pretty good advantage, and Exalted doesn't do much. This is not a matchup we were going to win fair. Opponent also mulligan to 6. So, if I had not shocked once last game, I would have won. So, probably some lesson in there. I'm usually pretty conservative when it comes to my mana base anyway. I just did not, my opponent needed exactly one card to kill me. So, I didn't respect that one out, I guess. So I'll fetch from their Temple Garden here. Not that I need double white, but I definitely don't need double black. Okay, there's the flying. So it'll be a 14 at the end of this turn. Could use a Collected Company or a Cord or something here. Some value play for me to pick up with my Eternal Witness. Okay. I will block. Okay, green, 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 1, 2, 3. I can Cord for Druid and try to win. I can let Duskwatch Recruiter flip because I already have Ballista in hand, so that's fine. It's completely fine here. If I need to, I can always Cord for another Knight of Autumn. And then block with the Knight of Autumn, E-Wit, and try to buy back another Knight of Autumn. Whenever I cast you cast a spell that targets. Okay. That's pretty good. It's like your own core Spirit Dancer, just doesn't die to Path. Glad I didn't bring the Path in. Okay. First strike, trample, hexproof. Cool. Opponent tapped out though. So I'm pretty sure they're dead. Green, green, doesn't matter. Green, 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 1, 2, done, and we win. So, we need 36 mana. It'd be nice if our opponent F6'd. Okay, our opponent wants to click through this. Well, either way, turns out infinite life wasn't necessary because we'd get the druid kill here. Almost there. For those of you still watching, thank you. I'll show you the list in a second. A little nostalgia trip. I always like doing a 1 extra +1/+1 counter, just to be safe. Alright. If my opponent keeps doing this, I might actually combo kill them and still use less clock than them. They'll be close, right? Okay. Alright, we win. So this is the list. If we break it down, the unique things about this list that no one's really been doing with Abzan Company Finks for a little while. And to recap, this is not the list I'm recommending for someone just to go out and say, hey, I want to play Abzan Company. This list is old. This list came from October of 2018 when I won that 10K. I'm pointing to the little thing in the office. This list was designed to beat a meta where I anticipated lots of Jund and Jeskai. Those were and Jund, Jeskai, and Burn. Those were like the 3 biggest decks that I knew I was going to have to play against. I believe I played against Jeskai twice and Burn twice. I'll post the whole recap of if anyone's interested in the old 10K in the YouTube video notes. But just to get to the list, so things about the list that I like, things that made me fall in love with the deck. This list is, I don't think anyone else was running this exact 75 when I was running it. The unique things here, so we have the typical devoted druid package with Vizier. So we have that right there. Then that's combined with 2 Duskwatch Recruiters. Duskwatch Recruiter lets you, once you have infinite mana, dig through to find whatever the heck you want. We have the Mana Dork situation, right? We have, pull those over here, 7 Mana Dorks. 3 birds, 4 nobles. Again, when you're expecting Jund and you're expecting grindy matchups, I want the nobles. Plus, back then, Bridge was a much bigger card to deal with than it currently is, and Noble is very good for that. So then we have 4 Kitchen Finks, which combines with 4 Viziers and my 2 Viscera Seers to gain infinite life. You can sack the Kitchen Finks, gain life, and the persist trigger is nullified by the Vizier. I'm running a second Viscera Seer again because I'm expecting a meta where my first Viscera Seer might die, or I want to naturally draw Viscera Seer. Viscera Seer is pretty good against removal heavy decks because every removal spell my opponent has turns into I get to scry 1. Now, this deck also has 2 Eternal Witness, which I know if anyone who follows my recent list, I'm always like, no, you need the minimum 3, and 4 is great. And I still think that's true. But this list was prioritizing something a little bit different. So this list was prioritizing Renegade Rallier as my 3rd and 4th Eternal Witness. What Renegade Rallier does is if you have Revolt, you get to buy back a permanent with converted mana cost 2 or less. Now, sometimes it just means turn 1 Noble, turn 2 Fetch Land, Renegade Rallier, buy back another Fetch Land, and then you're just way ahead in a fair matchup. It's like, oh, I just ramped. I just ramped and put a 3-2 body in play, and with my Noble Hierarch trigger, I'll swing for 4 the following turn. It also allows for some unfair things like turn 1 Viscera Seer, turn 2 Voice of Resurgence, turn 3 sack the Voice of Resurgence, get a free token, and then buy back the Voice with the Renegade Rallier. So now all of a sudden you just filled your entire board basically from nothing. And you got to scry 1, which is very useful. Now this list also has a really cool combo and interaction with Viscera Seer, Safi Eric's Daughter, and Renegade Rallier. So what you can actually do is you can actually make infinite scry here. So I don't know if you see the interaction yet, but Safi Eric's Daughter, you get to sacrifice, and then when a target creature dies, you return that creature to the battlefield. So you sacrifice Safi, targeting Renegade Rallier. You sacrifice Viscera Seer, targeting Renegade Rallier. Renegade Rallier dies, Safi Eric's Daughter triggers, Renegade Rallier gets put back into play, Revolt now triggers, Renegade Rallier brings back Safi Eric's Daughter, do that again. Now every time you do that, you get to scry 1. You're like, man, that's not very useful. Online, it's a pain. I've spent 3 or 4 minutes of clock time just trying to put a Collected Company on top of my deck before, and that was brutal. In paper, you pick up your entire deck as a shortcut. You get to see your entire deck and then put yourself in a spot where you can draw like a Collected Company next and know what the next 6 cards are that it's going to hit, which is really powerful. Much better in paper than it is online. This deck also is running 1 mainboard Scavenging Ooze. If you're expecting Jeskai with Snapcaster, if you're expecting Jund with Grindy and Burn, Scavenging Ooze is good against all of those. Dredge was also having a resurgence at this time, so makes sense for that too. Now my sideboard. Again, this is a sideboard for an old meta. I don't like this sideboard anymore. I think Path is far and away better than Assassin's Trophy. Assassin's Trophy was new, and I wanted to try it out instead of my extra paths. I still think Path is better, but this is okay. I also think I need 1 or 2 more removal spells. Now, in that meta, Jeskai and Jund, I wanted to have 2 big hitters in my backup skews. Shalai was very useful, and as always, is a great extra win condition. So much so that shortly after this tournament's when I started mainboarding Shalai. And Afenza again hits Jund, also is not bad against Burn, and is decent against Dredge, which is starting to pop up. Remorseful Cleric, I think, is kind of useless. Did help me win the 10K. You can watch all those old videos are on my YouTube. Just go to way back, October last year, and you can watch my winning into top 8 against Jeskai. Then the top 8, which was Goblins, Dredge, and then a Nauseam. And it was this 75. 2 Net of Autumns are very flexible. The one Eidolon is to deal with Storm and decks that I just can't beat. So that's the deck tech. That is the flashback of, hey, what does Abzan Company thinks look like? Or what did it look like just a short year ago? Well, there you have it. That's what it looked like. I'll see you on the other side.